OxygenOS 12 based upon Android 12 is now rolling out for eligible devices, and we've spent some time with it. Spoiler alert, if you're a long-time OnePlus fan, you're probably going to be really disappointed, but first, let's discuss why. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be notified about all our future uploads. In simple terms, if you don't like Oppo's ColorOS, then you're probably not going to like OxygenOS 12. For you, a jump to Google's Pixel series might offer the clean software experience that you've been craving. Let's talk about the bad stuff first though, as simply by virtue of this being such a huge change for OxygenOS, it's only fair that we discuss these problems right up top. If you've never used a OnePlus phone before, you might not care, but for stalwarts and hardcore fans, these changes and tweaks grate and irritate right out of the gate. For starters, OxygenOS 12 rids you of certain levels of control and customization that have been staples of this Android skin for a long time. Google did something similar in favour of material use wallpaper-based theming, and that too hurts the customization credentials of the Pixel device too, so we're not going to be comparing the two directly here. The thing is, with OxygenOS 12, you lose out on things such as the ability to change individual app icons. The status bar personalization is also very limited now. Google's Discover feed can't actually be disabled in favour of the OnePlus shelf, considering that even with a facelift in Android 11, none of these features were unceremoniously removed. OxygenOS is getting rid and more rigid, and while you have plenty of customization tweaks in other areas, things are not quite as fluid as they were in previous iterations, at least with regards to customization. It's really hard to deny that there are areas where you can clearly see a lack of attention to detail or attention to those finer details as well. A prime example is that of redundant double confirmations you get when deleting things such as home screen widgets. Long pressing and then tapping remove initiates a secondary confirmation pop-up panel where you can cancel this action, and while that's nice and all, this might be useful to some people, but it feels unnecessary in certain instances. The move away from the OnePlus Slate default font to OnePlus Sans over the past couple of years has also been quite disappointing, as it's just basically Oppo Sans in all but name. Luckily though, you can stick with the traditional Roboto font if you find the overly rounded aesthetic a tad too much. Personally, I don't mind that new font, but I would prefer a unique character set dedicated to OnePlus hardware rather than just recycling Oppo's design choices, something that is really a signature of OxygenOS 12 across the board. Default icon theming is another area that lifts basically directly out of the ColorOS playbook. This is both a positive and a negative trait though. The neat ability to change individual app icons and add custom labels is gone, which is, for me, a major sore point. However, you can more easily adjust, tweak and tune the size, shape and even the design within the wider personalizations settings section. It's almost as if OnePlus gives with the one hand while taking away with the other, and that seems to be quite a big problem across the board here. Google's big dynamic colour theming system that adds app accenting based upon your device wallpaper also isn't fully implemented in the stable OxygenOS 12 build here either. You need to manually set a system colour rather than your wallpaper being being the catalyst for added UI theming, and the changes seem to be very minimal to say the very least. And also, for a so-called stable release, OxygenOS 12 seems to be riddled with bugs and issues that honestly make it hard to suggest that you even update and install on your eligible OnePlus 9 or other OnePlus series device. It's not even just one or two areas of the device either. The system seems to manage the locked apps or apps that basically stay in RAM on your device for quick access via the Recents menu, and this leads to a frustrating situation whereby the close all button within the app switcher simply won't close every app at once. Having to dive into settings to disable this does feel counterintuitive and a little short-sighted, although it's not a huge problem. One thing that has been fixed but is still a little bit of a problem is that earlier in the beta phase, notification status bar icons actually changed behaviour. They swapped out simple, effective reminders for bright, colourful icons rather than the line-style icons that we've more or less become accustomed to on our Android devices over the past few years. And while this was jarring, it just didn't fit with the rest of the on-device system theming options, but some of these traits left over from the beta phase do remain. One prime example is, should you get multiple notifications back to back, OxygenOS 12 stacks these, and some will not show an icon within the status bar to let you know you have something ready to be read. Notifications can also sometimes show in an incorrect order or just be jumbled without any sort of reason. The way in which OxygenOS 12 handles notifications is just pretty poor, and it compounds the problems that have been there for some time already. Another problem that is not unique to OxygenOS 12 but is annoying all the same is how the always-on display handles the in-display fingerprint scanner. Often the guidelines for the scanner will just disappear, which means you'll need to just tap your display to activate it and then place your finger over the scanner again. Sure, it's a nitpick, but it's an annoyance all the same, to the point that it feels almost like a bug in the software. As you'd expect, there are extra changes added in the AOSP build of Android 12 that have jumped over to OxygenOS 12, and almost all were present in the early beta phases, and they've all come to the stable build. Most are just verbatim copies of what you'll find on Pixel phones, with the privacy dashboard and enhanced camera and microphone access toggles also making the jump here. Just discussing those extra microphone and camera privacy toggles, basically you'll get an upper right notification dot to indicate that your camera and microphone has been accessed. Expanding the notification shade and tapping the little icon will bring up another pop-up that tells you just which app specifically has recently accessed your on-device hardware. It's great for accountability, and being able to just quickly block access to the camera and microphone with the tap of a notification shade toggle also does come in very handy on a day-to-day basis, especially if you are privacy focused. OnePlus Shelf and the Scout feature are not technically new in Android 12, but the extra control panel has received a facelift with the global search option also now available in all regions. This is a great place as well to stash Android widgets if you prefer not to clutter your home screen, but can be disabled completely if you wish. And while you can no longer replace the Google Discover feed, the shelf portion is still well implemented and offers a unique take on common data points and quick access panels that I think most people will really enjoy. OxygenOS 12 also tunes the impressive gaming modes available here, with some notable new tweaks such as a voice modulator for in-game chat. This allows you to change your voice pitch for better anonymity when playing online titles. We can't say for certain just how well it works, but it's an interesting addition all the same, and one that adds an extra fun layer for mobile gaming on the go. There's also a new data monitor option that gives you a draggable pop-up to manage and check your phone vital stats, such as screen frame rate, GPU and CPU utilization when you are gaming. If you see performance dips, this can be a good way to keep track of your favourite titles. In the past, we've suggested that a OnePlus device could offer a better experience than many dedicated gaming phones, and this still appears to be the case in many regards with this OxygenOS 12 update. Of course, it would be foolish to just say that every single change in OxygenOS 12 is objectively bad, and ColorOS itself has its merits, and many of those do jump over here. However, OnePlus devices gain a few extra features that are good in their own right and are worthy inclusions to the software mix on offer here. A prime example to that is the ability to tweak and tune the system dark theme. While many other OEMs simply offer just one tone, you can adjust the dark theme between the AMOLED-friendly enhanced, a semi-grey medium, and light grey gentle setting. This even applies to the forced dark mode that can be set on an app-by-app basis if apps don't necessarily have their own dark theming available, which gives you options to suit to your own personal preference. Apps, of course, with their own dark theming settings may not adhere to this, but it is a positive inclusion all the same. OxygenOS 12 also handles screenshot gestures really well and better than most of the phones out there. The partial screenshot or three-finger drag gesture really is excellent, and one that continues to be accurate and precise. It's nice to see that it isn't being ditched here either. It is joined by a familiar Oppo solution for quickly entering split screen mode though. A three-finger downward drag lets you jump into two apps simultaneously without needing to enter the recent app menu directly, and it does save a lot of time. I'm also in love with the new work-life balance toggle and would love to see more OEMs adopt a similar feature. Essentially, this allows you to create two distinct profiles on your smartphone. The work profile is pretty self-explanatory, as you can restrict access to games or social media apps or allow access to only work-focused content when active. The life option can be used in the same way, giving you access to all of the apps you wouldn't usually use during your non-work related existence while blocking out work-related content. On the face of it, it sounds fairly similar to the focus mode, which is already available in Android, but it goes a few steps further with enhanced customization. Each individual profile can be activated or deactivated based upon things such as time, Wi-Fi connection, or even location, and this creates a more autonomous switch, and I must admit it really is a fantastic way to handle such a feature, and I can foresee this being a popular new addition, and it's one I'd love to see more of on more smartphones across the broad spectrum of Android. OnePlus may have made significant changes across almost all facets of OxygenOS 12, But one area I'm happy has not been altered though is that of the notification shade toggle layout. Material U on Pixel devices has decreased the utility of this section somewhat with larger pill-shaped panels, but this is not the case here. You have access to 12 quick toggles across multiple pages, and it's a delight for accessibility. There's even a new high performance mode which offers people wanting the maximum from their hardware on offer a way to choose battery over full throttle access. In all honesty, I couldn't see any major difference in my brief testing period, but it is good to see such an option exist, even if it only offers some frame rate increases in games or even specific applications. While there are lots of bugs across many areas of OxygenOS 12 which we have discussed, there is more attention being paid to things such as the animations, which do in many cases feel more deliberate. The whiz-bang and super slick OxygenOS of old did strip back animations to their bare essentials, and it sometimes could feel a little bit janky or choppy as a result. In Android 12 for OnePlus phones, app transition animations do feel more fluid and definitely feel more finished. So to wrap all of this up, in summary, OxygenOS as you know it is basically gone. This is a new software era for the Chinese firm that, like Realme and Vivo, is going to be more directly tied to ColorOS, as they have confirmed. On top of that, it doesn't really help that the first stable update based upon Android 12 for OnePlus phones is at times a bit of a buggy mess. Now, this poses a problem for current OnePlus owners. Do you jump ship or do you stick it out? If it's the latter, our advice is to reset your device before upgrading to this particular build. At the very least, this may mitigate some of the early teething problems, but even so, it's hard to blame anyone for not wanting to stick with OxygenOS 11 over this Android 12 version. The hardware itself might not have changed, but these fairly huge software alterations will leave a lot of fans scratching their heads and wondering, why try and tweak what was once a winning formula? One saving grace here is that if you simply cannot deal with OxygenOS 12 as it currently is, third-party ROM support might offer a lifeline for your OnePlus phone in future. Underneath this second-hand veneer, there are some nice features added that offer a glimpse of the OnePlus that hardcore fans probably once lauded. Mainstream appeal may be the end goal, as this Oppo-OnePlus merger has kind of proved, but it's tough to see how this current build achieves that with bugs, inconsistent design, and a weird cookie-cutter approach that will only hinder the all-important competitor differentiation. There is no doubt that the Oppo-OnePlus merger will prove to be a bitter pill to swallow, and it's going to be a large one at that. With all that said though, OnePlus fans, please let me know what you think down in the comments sections below, but try and keep it clean if you can. Are you going to look elsewhere, or are you just going to try and stick it out? Given the outcry online though, we'd wager that won't be the case. We'll also take a look into some ROM videos with these devices if that is something people would like to see, but as always I do appreciate the support. Thanks for watching, this is Damien with 95 Google saying thanks again, and I will speak to you later.